Joining us now is Lara Trump, of course, co-chair of the Republican National Committee, also the daughter-in-law of the former president and likely the future president of the United States. Lara, also, I understand you just had a birthday recently. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it was the 21st anniversary of my 21st birthday. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. Well, we are so happy to celebrate your anniversaries of the birthday. Lara, first off, we were all talking about this big event at MSG. Unbelievable. When you first, he packed it in California. He packed it in Nassau County, Long Island. He packed it in Bronx, New York. What's expected about the big upcoming Madison Square Garden, and how can people get tickets and even people, VIPs who want like special tickets? How do they find out about it?
Well, I think we're going to have about 20,000 VIPs at this event, it seems like, because everyone has reached out to me already and said, how do we get tickets? How do we go? Go to DonaldJTrump.com and you'll be able to find out the information there. Listen, anybody who has lived in New York or even gone to an event at Madison Square Garden, I've gone to plenty of Rangers games and plenty of concerts there. You know the feeling and the energy in that arena. It is incredible, right? And I think whenever you go to a Trump rally, you feel a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm at those Trump rallies. When those two things combine, Rita, I'm just going to say this right now. This is probably going to be the most epic experience of in the history of politics, I'm going to say. And I was at that Butler rally in Pennsylvania. That was pretty epic in and of itself for a lot of different reasons. But to have the energy, to have this arena, and then to be in the backyard of every liberal and in the deep blue of New York City, incredible. I can't wait. October 27th is the date. Mark your calendars. Going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And I love the messaging, just like you said. The fact that it's everybody turns out. It's like every race, color, creed comes out. In Bronx, New York, you think about Ronald Reagan. Do you think there's a chance he could take New York?
Well, we've seen some polling with Donald Trump this election cycle that has him within single digits of winning the state of New York. You look at where he is in other blue states like New Jersey, also very tight. We've added Virginia and Minnesota to our battleground map because we have seen the polls shifting in such a great favor to Donald Trump that we said this is really historic stuff that's going on. You're correct, Rita. The last time we saw a Republican candidate for president turn up in the Bronx, New York, guess what happened? That president won the state of New York for the Republican Party, and that was Ronald Reagan. So let's see what happens. I don't think anything is off the table, but it only works if everybody listening makes sure you're registered to vote and gets out to vote. And I'm going to say this again, go vote early. And the beauty of voting early, I know Republicans are traditionally slightly resistant to this idea. If you vote early, then we take you off our list. We don't need to harass you, and we don't need to use our resources at the RNC and the Trump campaign to get you out to vote. Then we go after those low propensity voters. That's how we make it too big to rig. That's how we swamp the vote. Go vote early, and then you take somebody every single day up until Election Day to vote. That's how we're going to win this thing big league, as Donald Trump likes to say.
Lara Trump, you just also talked about Butler. I thought, wow, how courageous for him to go back. We had Michael Waltz on before you, and he was talking about beefing up security. Are you concerned about, just the more important security around your father-in-law?
Yeah, listen, I think this is something that all of us in the Trump family have thought about for a long time. You kind of feel like what else can be thrown at this man? There's been impeachments, lawfare, obviously. We've seen all of the attempts to take this man down and take him out. And we kind of at a certain point said, well, what's left except something of this nature? And so to see two, I don't know what the third situation was, in Coachella over the weekend. I guess we'll find out more about that. But it does always, stay in the back of your mind as a family member. Here's what I will say. I think the changes that have been made via the Secret Service have really been impactful. I can tell you that I've witnessed firsthand how extensively they are taking every single campaign stop, everything wherever he is staying. They are really going above and beyond right now. But it is always a concern. And I think that I have to give this man so much credit because so many people would have had one of the many things that have been thrown at Donald Trump thrown their way and said, that's enough. I got to throw in my hat. I can't do this anymore. But it really doesn't matter what is happening to this man. He is continuing to fight for the American people. He never needed this job. He is doing it because he loves this country, and I have so much admiration and respect for him. It's really incredible to see him keep going and literally, Rita, put his life on the line every single day.
Lara, it's so important, and I think the Trump campaign has asked for some additional military aircraft, and they should give it to him because you know what I said publicly? I said if Donald Trump is president and it's going to cost Iran $300 billion, well, you know, and it's going to cost the Mexican cartel with the fentanyl, it's going to cost them billions and billions of dollars. So I think he's in danger, and we got to take maximum precautions.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's right. And listen, the fact that we've even had one assassination attempt on a former president and someone running for president of the United States is enough. That's one too many for us in this country. We're better than that. We pride ourselves in being better than that. And John, I think you're exactly right. No matter the cost, this is vital, and it's not just for our country. As the leader of the free world, we have a responsibility to do things the right way here and stand up in the face of these sorts of things. So, yeah, we need to take this seriously. And I think that, again, I've been very pleased with what I've seen happen, unfortunately, in the wake of these two incidents. But I think going forward, I hope everybody is on top of everything, and it really has felt very good and very safe for him out there lately.
Lara, one more thing. And I've said this publicly many, many times. The free world depends on the United States of America and the leadership in the White House to stay free. If we don't have strong leadership in the White House, the free world is not going to be free.
Well, that's exactly right. And, I mean, take a look around, John. Listen, you have to really ask yourself deep down what has been going on in this current White House and in this current administration. You have 3 years plus of people continually lying to the American people about the actual state of the current president of the United States. Joe Biden is still the president. We have all asked a lot of questions for a long time, and they continued to lie to us about that. They did the least democratic thing possible, and they just had this crazy situation where they literally overthrew Joe Biden. My father-in-law calls it a coup. I think you could absolutely call it that. Pulled him out of there, plugged Kamala Harris in with not a single vote cast for her. And a lot of people say, well, what is going on here? But no one that gets the time or the opportunity to question these things. It is we, the people of this country, who should determine our leadership. It should not be decided for us. It should not be forced upon us. We need to be able to make that choice. And that is why this election is so vital and so important, because if you think for a second that the same machine that's been running the show behind the scenes with Joe Biden over the past 3.5 years wouldn't be that same machine in there with Kamala Harris, and this is a group of people or whatever it is that we did not vote for, you're kidding yourself. It would be the exact same situation. And it is very frightening because it feels to a lot of people, John, right now, like they are losing their country. They don't recognize America. And that's why I think whenever we talk about how important this election is, and when you see Elon Musk, a guy who is never political, get up on stage in Butler, Pennsylvania and say, if we don't vote Donald Trump in the White House this time around, we may not have another election. That's why whenever you see RFK Jr., a Kennedy, a man whose name is synonymous with the Democrat Party, saying, I cannot be a part of this party anymore, they don't represent me, we need to take that seriously. He's voting for Donald Trump. All of these people understand what is at stake right now. And I think every day as time passes, the American people are starting to learn that as well. But make sure you get out and vote like your country depends on it, because it does.
Absolutely. Everybody, we're talking to Lara Trump. Vito Fossella.
Well, first, let me state publicly that I am a beneficiary of President Trump's support and endorsement, and I am grateful for that. So that's number one. And while I don't support any of the things that have been done against him over these last 8 years, one of the residual benefits is that the strong men around the world who want to cause us harm, who want to disrupt the Middle East, want to bring America down, they are watching all of this and say, my God, this guy has stood up against everybody and everything that they've thrown at him. Look at his courage and look at his strength. Right now, the last thing they want, but the best thing we should have, is President Trump back in the White House so he can bring and restore peace, not just here, but in other parts of the world, which could ultimately bring us unrest.
Oh, amen to that. Shout it from the rooftops. That's 100% accurate. And I always remind people, look, there is something to be said for the fact that we did not see ourselves in any new war when Donald Trump was in the White House, that we instead had the Abraham Accords peace agreements in the Middle East instead of a war in the Middle East. There's a reason we had not just one, but 2 meetings with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, that Donald Trump was the only sitting president of the United States to walk across the DMZ and shake hands with Kim Jong-un to possibly denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. These are incredible things. And these are things that, you take a look at the 2 in the White House right now, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, couldn't in their wildest dreams dream of doing these things. You're right. Oftentimes it is because Donald Trump is who he is that we kept ourselves out of any new wars, that our allies respected us and our adversaries respected us. And that is important, because peace through strength is not just a slogan. It is real. It is what we experienced during Donald Trump's first term in office, and it's what we want to get back to with a second term with him in the White House. But he warns, and I think we're all feeling right now, very nervous about what could happen if Kamala Harris becomes president of the United States. These leaders don't respect her. They are laughing at us around the world, including our adversaries and our allies. And we're on the verge of World War III. It is so frightening to think that a vote the wrong way could send us into a spiral like we have never seen in modern times. We could end up in a nuclear war. It is very frightening. Peace through strength is the slogan, and peace through strength is what you got with Donald Trump in the White House.
100%. I interviewed Admiral Stavridis, Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, for 4 years on Sunday morning, and he's more of a Democrat than a Republican. And guess what? He's afraid of World War III.
Really scary stuff. And Laura, by the way,
yeah.
We just have about 30 seconds left. For folks out there, our show is heard around the country, around the globe. People listen to our show. What do you want to say to folks?
Well, I just think that the next 22 days are incredibly important. We really do hear the same slogan every 4 years, which is that this is the most important election. I want people to take this very seriously. You can go to swampthevoteusa.com and check your voter registration if you're a United States citizen. Make sure you're registered to vote. You can learn your voting locations there. Get out and vote early, like I said. Don't go to vote alone. Take somebody with you. And I want to send another message out there to anyone who would interfere in our elections, to anyone who wants to enact any nefarious activity, cheat in an election. We will find you, we'll track you down, and we'll prosecute you to the full extent of the law. We have 200,000 trained poll watchers, poll workers, legal experts we're deploying across this country. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So I just want to make sure that we have a free, fair, and transparent election. It's been our charge from the RNC from day one. And I believe when every legal vote is counted and only legal votes are counted, Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States.
Well, Laura, we are so thrilled to have you here. Obviously, we care about this country. We care about the integrity of the vote. And everybody, just like you said, get out and vote. Also, go to DonaldJTrump.com to get your tickets, also for Madison Square Garden, which you brought up. It's so great to have you here, Laura. Give your father-in-law our love and our best, please.
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, so much.